Welcome back to Fan Talk. I'm David.
And I'm Simon.
And I've been kind of promising to do a video on streaming networks and what all's out there. This is going to be first of several videos I might put out there about this. This is going to be a rough, quick and easy. There's just so much out there nowadays that you can't possibly go over all of it.
Yeah, it would be a complete information dump that you'd be like, I don't remember a single thing they said.
But I can go over a lot of high points. And for me, this is just really simple things if you're trying to make a good decision. And so I'm going to start off with the basic. Pretty much none of these if you're a cord cutter, right? You're getting away from the cable companies entirely. If you're a cord cutter, it's tough to get your basic channels. So to get your just local channels, a lot of people are going with these antennas. And the best ones out there I've heard are actually a company, and it's called Mohu Relief, which is their top model is $40. And then they also have one that's just called the Leaf, which is $17. It's really cool. It's just a little sticker with a thing that you stick up kind of up on your wall behind your TV where you won't really see it. It plugs into your TV and you get 4K quality, all your local channels, and you don't have to pay for them. It's free. So anytime there's weather, inclement weather, things like that with DirecTV, a lot of people talk about weather that you can't get it because it's all knocked out because it comes from satellite. You'll always have your local networks, and there's a lot of other channels and things that come out. They're free over the airlines. You pick up all those channels, and basically it's $17 or $40. I feel like it's a worthy investment just to have as a backup for anything else.
Yeah.
And then a lot of your other cord cutters, there's, again, tons of them. I'm going to touch on only really two because, in my opinion, are the best two. And they're really great. They got Play-Doh TV. Play-Doh TV is totally free. Absolutely free. Now, there's ads, like commercials that pop up, and that's how they pay for it being free. It definitely has really unique channels. It has, in total, Play-Doh TV, it's 160 channels and 30 music channels, which for free, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's better than basic cable that you get through a traditional cable company.
It definitely has some interesting channels, which are fun. Like, they have Turtle TV. It's nothing but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay.
They have, interesting, kind of really specific channels, but if you have kids or even for yourself, there's some stuff on there. You're going to find something you like to watch generally, and it's totally free. So download it on your smart TV. It's almost foolish not to have it for free, and it offers you some options. The other one, obviously, most people have heard of is Sling TV. Sling TV has your two options. You got your orange and your blue. It's $15 a piece or $30 for both.
Does Morpheus give you the option?
Orange or blue pill? Yes, but it's it's a really good purchase. It's really, $30, and you get 104 channels, all high quality streaming television, and it gives you a lot of your basic network channels. You're gonna have your Food Network channels, your Fox, your sports packages, so you can watch your sports and ESPN, ESPN2, all that stuff. So you can actually Google. I'm not gonna go over all the channels on those. You can just hit that up on your Google on both of those. It'll show you the list of channels and see if it's worth it to you. But if you're trying to get away from cable and you're just wanting a lot of just normal television channels, these are two ways to get some channels, to have some stuff to watch.
I was going to add on another one. The one actually I use.
Okay.
It was a DirecTV app, and now it's known as at&t TV.
Oh, yeah.
It's like $50-$60 for the basic one. And you get all the regular basic cable channels, maybe around 100 channels. I didn't count them, but all the main ones. I haven't found any I'm missing yet.
Yes.
And you can get add-on packages for more sports channels, etc. But that's the one we use. We like it because we can watch it on our phones, we can watch it on our tablets, we can watch anywhere in the world, and then we just cast them to our TV as needed.
Well, that's how the Sling TV and Play-Doh TV is too. It's an app, so you can literally, once you pay for it, you have it on as many things as you want. Where Netflix, a lot of those, you get it for 4 things.
Right.
These, it's it doesn't matter how many things you have. So once you're paying $30 a month for Sling TV, you can put it on all your kids' tablets, you can put it on your computer, you can put it on your TV, so you're just watching it straight from your TV with your remote. So you don't have to cast or do nothing. It's just right there. But on the same note, your kid has his tablet and you're at Buffalo Wild Wings getting a bite to eat, and they can sit there and watch TV or do whatever.
On those, do they give the option to download movie or download TV shows?
They actually, with Play-Doh TV, it doesn't have anything like that. Sling TV, you can pay an extra, I think it's $12 a month for a DVR. Okay. And for an extra $12 a month, you can record anything you want.
I know the AT&T TV, I can hit record on some shows.
Yeah, and for an extra $12 a month, you can. So it'd take it from 30 to 45.
Okay.
So it's a pretty good deal, and those are the two apps that I use.
The AT&T TV also does have local channels.
Yeah, and but that's almost like a cable in a way that's the AT&T. It's kind of like having,
it really is cable on your tablet.
Yeah, your tablet. And it's the same thing. Like you can go with Cox. Here it's Cox Cable.
Contour, I think is there.
You got Dish. You've got DirecTV. I'm not really going to all those. I was looking more for alternative ways to get some of those channels without having to go through those people and pay those like $50, $60, $70 a month price. Now you go to the streaming wars, your streaming networks, and all right, pretty much every major network is now going to come out with the streaming. Like, for instance, Peacock is coming out now. Announced for NBC. They don't actually have a price point yet for it, but lots of original content and their whole back catalog. So once again, if you go to NBC and you look at any show that's been on there, pretty much those are going to be back cataloged on there. And the new shows that come out are going to be on it. I don't have a price point for that yet. I'm guessing it's going to be very similar to CBS All Access.
Could be, yeah. It's going to be like in that same range.
Same range, which CBS All Access is $5.99 with ads, $9.99 no ads at all. That's a month. I think they're going to come out. They haven't with yet, but they're probably going to come out with a yearly rate, which will be a little bit cheaper. Usually they do with these things. CBS Access, also something I think is very worth the money in the aspect of it has all the back catalogs. So if you have your local networks through the antenna, like I was talking about, that's great. You can watch shows as they're coming out, and you tune in and watch them in a traditional stance. Like just tune in and watch. But with this, you have the ability to go and watch it whenever you want. And you have that back catalog. Like, I have CBS All Access. I was looking on there. They have the old Outer Limits. I was going and watching old Outer Limits from the 1990s. They have the Equalizer. That was like from the early 80s. Like every episode of the original Equalizer TV show.
So if you ever have, when Peacock comes out, if you have the urge to spend one weekend or 3 months straight binge watching all 44 seasons or whatever it is of SNL, you can.
You can, because it's going to have all 44 seasons of Saturday Night Live on there.
I think there's some shows that are kind of carved out of this because of licensing agreements like Office, Friends, etc. That won't necessarily be on these to begin with, but I think they'll probably be added.
Some of them will not be on these at the beginning, but they'll be added later as contracts run out. Some of these contracts are not exclusive contracts. Like Netflix is strategically done this with a lot of places where they have access to their stuff. Now, that doesn't mean that NBC can't have it on their website as well. It just means that Netflix will also be allowed to have it streaming on theirs. Okay. Which, from a business standpoint, I have to say is very smart. I don't feel like Disney or any of these people should try and exclusively keep their content from a business standpoint, but that's not my call, that's theirs.
Also, because I think that this isn't Highlander. There can't just be only one streaming service. Okay. I think multiple... Now, I think... every company having its own streaming service, in addition to conglomerate ones like Netflix and Amazon, Hulu. I think that's too many. Mm-hmm. I think they can consolidate, and I think there will be some consolidation going.
There
is
going to be a lot, and I'm going to jump into that now. That's kind of my basic networks and like how to get television. Right now, we're going to your actual streaming, which you're going to get a lot of original content and a lot of movies, and a lot of people are using. Once again, tons of stuff out there. I'm going to touch on the big ones. And so we're going to go ahead and I'm going to flip my page here from the beginning. And we're going to start with the big one, and that's Netflix. Most of you guys have Netflix. A lot of people have it out there. In my opinion, still hands down the best streaming network for the price and for what you get.
Can I throw out my favorite trivia for Netflix?
Yes.
Blockbuster declined to buy Netflix in the early days, thinking this won't work.
This won't work, and look what happened. And Netflix at price point, you got $8.99, $12.99, $16.99. You decide which one you want. It has to do with the quality of it. If you're 4K, if you're HD,
how many devices?
How many devices you got. That's really the only difference. The $16.99 price point being the highest is still a fantastic price point when you look at the kind of shows. I don't even need to go into movies. They have tons of original movies on there, and then of course their movies switch out monthly or quarterly, so to what you can watch, but the original content's always on there. I'm going to stream off just a few of these so you have an idea of like the kind of content you get with Netflix. House of Cards, huge show. Orange is the New Black. Sense8, Narcos, Stranger Things, incredible. The Crown, very good. The AO is a good series. Let Me Stick It, Series of Fortunate Events, very good reboot from the movie. It's a series. It's fantastic. 13 Reasons Why has been very, very successful. Ozark, Gypsy, Mindhunters, which is the series about the guys that created profiling for serial killers. Excellent series. Altered Carbon was huge. Lost in Space reboot. It's great. The Umbrella Academy, fantastic.
What was the one before that?
The Haunting, which is actually streamed off several movies, which are also on Netflix. You got Another Life, the Society, The Dark Crystal, which we've talked about. You just go into some of the Marvel stuff they've had on there. You got Daredevil, Punisher, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Peggy Carter, The Defenders.
Agents.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Master of None, Fuller House, The Ranch. There's some comedies that are on there. Glow is huge right now. It's a show about the female wrestlers. It's historically correct. And they have some great stand-up comedy shows. Yeah, I mean, the Dave Chappelle stuff's on there now. You can go on and on with Netflix. I don't care what people say that they might be pushing Netflix out. Netflix is going nowhere, folks. They have too much original content, and I'll go into some of the other ones here in a minute.
And they're established. People actually have to make the conscious decision to cut
Netflix, yeah. And I'll tell you right now, like most of the other stuff out there, can't touch them. Now, there is one that's coming out that is going to give them a run for their money. It's definitely going to be my choice too. But out of everything, if you had one thing, I would still make it Netflix.
Yeah.
Just from the sheer content that they have on there that's original, that's theirs, it's not going anywhere, and it's good. Hours and hours of watching pleasure.
Yep.
The next one on my list would be Amazon. Amazon is interesting because a lot of you already have Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime,
get the app.
You get the app, you can just watch this. So it's silly not to use it if you already basically have it wrapped in your package.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have Amazon Prime and you want it, I feel like Amazon Prime Video is an excellent purchase, $8.99. It's just $8.99 if you don't have Prime just to have the video.
Yeah.
So that's not a bad price. If you don't want to pay the $119 a year for your Amazon Prime, you don't really use it, but you still want to stream, $8.99 is a good price. Amazon has a lot of good stuff on there. So again, they have a lot of their movies and stuff like that, but their original content is a lot smaller than Netflix, but it's some really good stuff, and it's growing quickly. You got like Bosch, Hand of God, Man in the High Castle, which is a great series about what would have happened if the Nazis would have won the war. And it's just all about that kind of regime and the fight back against it. It's a really great series. Carnival Row is a brand new one, just came out with Orlando Bloom. Fantastic, fun fantasy series. A lot more grittier and real than like say something like Game of Thrones. It's more set in like the 20s kind of era. It's a lot of fun. The Boys, which is a superhero spoof, but very dark. Great series. Hannah, which is based off the movie, the young girl that was highly enhanced and the CIA is looking for her.
Oh, okay.
It's a series based on that. It's very good. It's been doing well. The Romanoffs, which is good. You got Jack Ryan, which is based off the character from the Clancy books. Sneaky Pete's a new one. Girls in Revolt, Goliath, The Patriot, The Last Tycoon, The Tick, which is hilarious if you like that kind of thing. The Dangerous Book for Boys. A lot of people have had this book when you're growing up. They've kind of spun a comedy series off of it. It's pretty decent. I've seen some of it. Jean-Claude Van Johnson, which is a funny reality series. It's with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He basically plays himself, but like not. He's like I think the gimmick is he's playing himself, but the Van Johnson's the real character playing Van Damme as this. And I'm not 100% on it, but I know that it's supposedly kind of quirky and weird. It's got some darkness to it, but it's kind of funny. I haven't seen it, but it's got some decent reviews. Red Oaks, Lost in Oz is kind of a kids thing. Pete the Cat, if you have kids, that's a really popular kids one. Britannia, which I actually started, it's a pretty good series. Good Omens has come out. That's really funny. Undone. There's a really popular animated series that just came out last week. It's shot in the same style as that movie back in the day, and now I'm gonna brain fart, not remember what it was called, but it was the one with Keanu Reeves.
Oh, Scanner Darkly.
Scanner Darkly. It's filmed just like Scanner Darkly. Thank you.
Basically, they film it and then they color back over.
Yeah, with animation, and it's about time travel, and it's apparently very good.
Also on Amazon, is not original to them. It's actually created elsewhere, but I've been watching it lately with the movie coming out soon. Downton Abbey series.
Downton Abbey is on there. They have a lot of content on there. Don't get me wrong, and they are a strong competitor, I would say, with Netflix, but not as much original content. They're getting there. I think that a lot of people are now starting to try and compete with Netflix and getting that original content that's good out there.
Yeah.
My next one is going to be coming out real soon. This is the one that is really going to be smashing up the park, and that's the Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Disney Plus is going to be $6.29, or you can pay $69.99 annually for it. It is going to hold all Disney back cataloged movies. You can pull up the list for day one release now online. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, pretty much the only thing missing is Songs of the South.
Yeah, pretty much. If you think of a Disney movie, it's going to be on there. If you can think of a Disney series, it's on there. If you were like me and you watched Tailspin and DuckTales as a kid, and they have that new one, and you're like, oh, I'm not really into that, but I'd like to watch the old ones. Every episode right there at your fingertips.
Chip and Dale's Darkwing Duck.
Yeah, I mean, just all those fun things you remember as a kid. All
Gummy
the
bears.
old movies. Yeah, Gummy Bears. Like Gummy Berry Juice. I mean, all these fun things from Disney are all going to be on there. So for your kids, it's great. As an adult, let's be honest, it's going to be fun.
And Disney means Lucasfilm and Marvel.
Marvel, which we've already talked a lot about the Marvel stuff. We're going to have What If, Loki, Hawkeye, WandaVision, Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Mrs. Marvel, She-Hulk, Moon Knight series. It goes on, folks. They have a series, a High School Musical series that's going to be on there, a series called Encore, which is going to be pretty good. The Star Wars side, of course, we have The Mandalorian coming out, but there's also been a Cassian Andor series, Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and then there's an unannounced Star Wars series. We don't know what it is. We just know it's coming.
Okay.
So a lot of stuff for Disney Plus, and again, we're looking at $69 a year if you want to pay for it for the year, but at $6.29 a month, that's a killer price for what you get. I mean, their catalog on there is going to be huge.
Yeah.
Now, we start going into some of the smaller ones, in my opinion, that this might be something you want to invest in. They're still good.
I consider these more medium tier.
Yeah, they're medium tier.
There's very niche ones out there, too.
Yeah, there's a lot of niche ones out there, which I don't think are going to survive the consolidation period that we're going to go through over the next 2 or 3 years. But these are still some big names right now. Hulu. A lot of you know about Hulu. A lot of people have it. It's $5.99 a month or $11.99 without ads, which is a pretty good price point. They have a lot of films on there, but moreover, this is like for watching TV series. A lot of
I think as people pull their contents back and things, and also Hulu's not independently owned. They're owned by several companies own
them,
including Disney and other places. So unless there's a reason to keep the separate, I think it will fizzle.
Yeah, I see Hulu going the way of the dodo eventually.
I could be wrong, but that's my feeling.
I don't think you are, though. I really feel like that as things get pulled back, there's going to be one we see go away. But for right now, $5.99 a month, if that's something you're looking forward to. They have some original content, and they do own a lot of stuff. I think they own rights to Stephen King stuff.
Okay.
So you see a lot of Stephen King original series. There's Castle Rock, which has been getting a lot of good reviews, which is a fictional town from Stephen King.
Is that up in Maine?
It is. And
I see a pattern.
They also have 11/26/63, which is based on his book about time traveling, trying to stop the John F. Kennedy assassination.
Okay.
So there's those. There's Marvel has a series on there called The Runaways. I don't know how long that's going to last with everything going on. Battlegrounds, Life After, The First, Behind the Mask, Into the Dark, Future Man. These are some of the series that are on there. Again, there's not as many. Probably the most popular series that you're going to see on Hulu is Handmaid's Tale. That's the one that really has sucked in a lot of people. It's their original content that's really been extremely popular the last couple of years. It's a good series.
I've heard that one. I've heard good things about it.
It's a good series. It's very dark. and it's rough, and it's hard to think of how society got that point, but it's a fun series to watch, and that is on Hulu.
Okay.
Moving on, YouTube. Now, YouTube is one I kind of want to state this. It's really almost fits into like a cable access thing, because this is one of those that you're gonna get a lot of your network television channels, your channels, not so much movies, and it's got a high price point like that. So like how you brought up the AT&T, this is going to be more like that kind of genre. It's going to be $49.99. They do have some original content.
Like
Very little original content for $49.99 a month. Impulse, Wayne, Origin, Minefield, Escape the Night, Foursome, Youth and Consequences, Good Game, Sing It, I'm Happy. A lot of them really are. There's a lot of game shows. There's a lot of kind of.
Just based on the titles, I know two that should cross over: Foursome and Young and Consequences.
But I feel like YouTube's channel, they're out there to compete. I feel like it's kind of a newer thing. I think the price point right now, it's fair if you're getting your TV channels and everything that way. For me, it's cheaper to go with Sling TV and then get some other things to partner with.
I feel like YouTube is not going niche, but they're not going for the traditional TV show movies like Netflix is.
No.
They're going a different direction.
But I also feel like it's kind of new, really. This whole push and getting original content. It took Netflix a while to start building that. Amazon has a lot of money that they can dump into starting to pound this stuff out, and they're getting some good stuff coming out, and they're directly trying to compete. And I think as YouTube kind of starts fitting into that point, we're gonna get a lot more content out of them.
And they're owned by Google.
Yeah, so I think we're gonna get a lot more out of them. Yeah, we're gonna get a lot more out of them. I just don't think we've seen a whole lot yet.
Okay.
And from there, really, I'm going into your cable channel monsters. Your HBO, Showtime, and Cinemax. Those are the three big boys. Of course, you can get those with DirecTV, AT&T, Dish, all those boys. You can get them, but you can add them on Amazon for pennies on the dollar and get those added to your Amazon. You can get those added to your YouTube. So that's the kind of cool thing about the Amazon and the YouTube channels is you can add these big boy network channels to them and get that content. And the cool thing is like, for instance, you got DirecTV. I had DirecTV before I cut the cord, and I could watch HBO, but I couldn't go back and watch their full catalog.
You watch what was live.
You could watch what was live at the time, and then you had your thing where you go and record, and they had the seasons that are prevalent, like Game of Thrones. I could go watch that whole season for that year, but I couldn't go back and watch the last 4 seasons, right?
Yeah, it'd be hard to go back and watch pick out an episode of Sopranos or Rome.
Yeah, like those series. Now, when you go and subscribe to the actual channel, streaming network itself, like HBO Now, I think they're all now, like Showtime Now and Cinemax Now, or IMAX,
I think they're doing a merger or revamping a little bit next year. I think it's going to be HBO Max. Just a combined.
Combined the two. And
because Warner Brothers is also coming out with one.
Yeah.
Well.
So, but those channels are relatively cheap. I think most of them are $12 to $17 a piece, and you can go and look at all their back catalog stuff and find out what's on there. Their newer content, I'm just going to throw out just the new stuff that's kind of showing right now. On Showtime, you got Billions, you've got Wu-Tang Clan, Mike and Man, Homeland, Ray Donovan, Shameless. And then, of course, the new Halo series, which isn't going to be out for a while, but that is going to be on Showtime. HBO, you have the new Watchmen series coming out, which should be pretty interesting. You got The Righteous Gemstones, which looks like that's going to be a crazy series about televangelists.
Okay.
It's got some really John Goodman's in it. It looks like it's going to be pretty interesting. Our Boys, Chernobyl, if you haven't seen, is fantastic. Game of Thrones, obviously.
An upcoming prequel.
Yep. Succession, Westworld, which has been really popular. That's all on HBO. Cinemax. I haven't heard of a lot of these shows or watched a lot of them. I was doing some research for it. I'm kind of interested in some of them. There's a show called Jet, which looks like it's kind of a spy genre film or series. It looks pretty good. There's a show called, I think I'm going to say this right, Relvix. It looks kind of sci-fi-y. Outcast, Banshee, which has been really popular. Quarry, which is actually set during the Vietnam era. It's about a guy that's come back from the war, and he kind of slowly gets sucked into a life of crime because there's just not a whole lot out there for him.
Okay.
It's been pretty good. And then there's one called The Knicks, which is actually pretty interesting sounding.
New York Knicks?
No, actually, that's the first thing it pulls up when you try and Google. But it's actually about I guess I'm saying it's about the Knickerbocker hospitals that were in New York back in the 20s, and it was back when medicine was a lot of touch and go and guesswork, and these
leeches and
these surgeons were really trying to advance medicine while trying to suck in big time clients to make enough money to keep the doors open so they could keep doing this research. And so it's kind of like the politics of a hospital now. How do you suck in clients and treat people and make money whilst expanding research and learning? And then the characters in it at the time, you have to think that cocaine and heroin were prevalent and legal to an extent,
and also used as medicines, or soda.
And so the main character is like, I guess he's addicted to cocaine and some other things, and so he's trying to balance that with being a surgeon, and then there's an African American doctor at the time when that was highly frowned upon,
or just not seen very often.
Not seen at all. And so it apparently has some really interesting things going on. But that's kind of like the main things. Now, like I said, these, when you enroll for them, you're going to have access to their whole back catalog. So, like with HBO, they're saying that you go all the way back to The Sopranos, so it started it all, in my opinion.
Had some series before that, but The Sopranos was like big time.
Big time groundbreaking, changed everything. Yeah. I could do a whole show just on how Sopranos changed television.
We could.
But
Cinemax, talk about like going back into the back catalog. The only thing I can remember from the Cinemax back catalog is trying to pause on a VCR a scene from Cinemax, and it's all wiggly, and you can't is that it? No, that's not. Okay, keep going. I'm just kidding.
No, well, I will say that Showtime and HBO have had a lot of good content. I mean, Showtime, you've got Homeland, which has been really good. Shameless, which has been fantastic.
Deadwood was on one of these as well.
Deadwood was on HBO. I really like
Spartacus, or there's some other.
Spartacus was on Starz, actually, which actually has their own streaming network. I almost left them out. But you got, what's some of the other really great ones?
John Adams. There was Earth to the Moon. There's just been tons of good stuff.
Tons of good stuff out on these that you can go back and watch. Dexter was one of them I really liked that was on Showtime. So the back catalog for these is kind of
Brothers.
Just kind of depends on what's worth it to you, what you really want to watch. For me, I'm just going to say the best price point for watching television, having some television channels, and then having a lot of original content and movies. If I had to piece it together for the same price that you can get a basic package from, say, DirecTV, I could have Sling TV and Play-Doh TV, and then also keep Netflix, Amazon, and
the House of Mouse.
Disney, the House of Mouse, and you're covered. I mean, you're going to have tons of hours and hours and hours of original content. It's going to keep you busy for a long time. You have access to tons of movies, not just all Disney's catalog by default, Marvel movies and Star Wars movies, but then you'd have Netflix and Amazon and the stuff that they're showing, and then it'd be
a waste of money unless you're just that huge of a pop culture nerd to get basically all of these.
Yeah.
The only thing I'd recommend at that point is get the set of packages that make the most sense for you and what you're interested in, and then you might be having Hulu or having HBO, and then one of your buddies has Showtime or some of the other ones, and then go to their house and watch some of the stuff. That way you're not paying for all the stuff and you still get to share in the content. It's really probably the best way of doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, for $70 a month, which is when I had DirecTV with internet and everything, I was paying I think $100 a month. But for 65, I think I figured it up. It's about $65 a month. That would give you Sling TV. Play-Doh's obviously free, so why not? So it gives you those two, and then I had the House of Mouse. You got Netflix and Amazon, and that's just paying the $8.99 a month.
The basics.
The $8.99 if you didn't have Amazon Prime already. And again, a lot of people are going to have that. That's a fee that you're already paying.
I had Amazon for months before I realized I had it.
Yeah, same here.
Because we signed up for the Amazon Prime for the shipping and everything else, and then we're like, well, later we're like, oh, we have that too? Okay, let's start watching
and I thought it was extra, and I wasn't going to pay for it because I had Amazon Music I still do, and it's like an extra like $3 a month. And I'm like, why am I paying extra for music? That doesn't seem right. And then I found that the movies were free. I'm like, why is movies free and music isn't? That's weird.
Yeah.
But regardless, I mean, if you have Amazon Prime and like that comes with a lot of things too. I mean, I know phone services that automatically include an Amazon Prime membership. So look into what you have, and see what you already have access to and capitalize on that. And then just supplement here and there. But in the world that we're living in, not having to pay the huge inflated prices at Cox and at DirecTV and Dish, I mean, I don't want to knock on these guys.
That might make sense for you still.
That might make sense for you. They different places, they charge different things. I understand that. But a lot of these shows and TV content you can get for a whole lot cheaper, and you can piece together what you actually watch. Where if Dish, for instance, they're like, this is the package, this is what you get, and these are the channels, there might be like 4 channels in there, but you have to go up to the next category to get the other 3 channels you want.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that anymore. Folks, you can go and look in these shows and these things and pick them. Like the thing I like about Sling TV is I don't know if I'm gonna get these colors right, but like the blue is like the basic, and it has a lot of your basic channels, and then the other one has some expanded channels, but it also has like all your sports stuff. So if you aren't like into ESPN and sports, just pay the $15 and get your basic network channels. Then if you're into a lot of sports, you watch a lot of sports, hey, go ahead and pay the $30 and get both. And then you have all your ESPN, your channels to watch sports and stuff. You can piece together what you like and what you need for your entertainment purposes. But if you watch a lot of movies, then again, I just feel like Netflix is a given. But this is just a quick rundown on a lot of the stuff that's out there, and I'll piece together some more stuff. I'll touch into some of those niche ones out there. They're out there right now that might be fun. Like DC has their very own DC Universe channel,
which will probably be wrapped into the Warner
Brothers very soon. So some of this stuff is going to go away, but for right now, it's kind of fun if you have the extra money to spend.
And then also there's a whole other side of the gaming services too.
Yes, like PlayStation, Sony has Sony PlayStation View. Right now, that's the only streaming network they have. Now, it has the movies and all that, and it's actually pretty pricey. It can start off relatively cheap at $29.99, and it goes up all the way to, I think, $129.99 for their highest tier. But the thing with that is it kind of works like a GameFly, where not only do you get the TV shows, but you have access to all the games. Not just the games you own, but pretty much anything that's out there, you can plug and play. Right. And Xbox is doing the same thing, but theirs doesn't have the TV and stuff yet. No. Right now, it's just their game stuff.
Yeah. And the Microsoft Xbox, $10 a month for the basic.
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. I mean, even Nintendo's doing one of these from a standpoint.
On the Switch.
It makes a lot of sense, especially if you have kids, to pay one price a month and let them have access to all the games they want to play, opposed to spending $60 for every single game.
Yeah, and also on the Nintendo Switch, for example, you can play Mario Brothers 1 from the 80s and Mario Brothers 2. They don't have a full catalog on there, but they got some good ones.
They got a lot of them. Yeah, and
they rotate those in and out too.
Yeah, and so it's a lot of fun, and it makes sense for a price point. Like, it's a lot cheaper than even like me. I collect old Nintendo cartridges. I have almost all the original catalog that cost thousands of dollars to acquire all those.
That's a lot of licking to make them work.
Yeah. So you think about it, for somebody like me, there's a lot of ways to get those games and play them now without having to spend those big bucks. But the streaming, this is something that's not going away. From a collector's standpoint, I will say this. If you own games, especially, hold on to them. Because the world is leaning towards the day that we aren't going to buy like these discs and carts anymore.
On PC games, they mostly come from download now.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, there's a huge market for collecting games I was looking for some stuff the other day, and there was a guy I was going to buy some Nintendo cards from. He had a ton of old computer games, and I thought about buying them. It's not really my wheelhouse, but I mean, like these old computer discs with you had to type in the long codes.
The actual
and all that.
floppy 5 1/4.
Yeah, it's like that stuff is way gone now, and it's just going to be a lot of fun to collect. In fact, at some point from pop culture side, we might bring in some of our stuff. Like he has a huge Transformer collection that's really cool. I collect obviously old Nintendo cartridges. It's a lot of fun, but anyways.
Yeah. I think that's a good opening into this very in-depth conversation, but we'll kind of update this and add more information. Do another video at some point.
At some point, yeah, but just a rough overview of what's kind of out there, kind of give you some price points, give you an idea of what might work for you. So go out there and do your own research and just figure out what works. But, I mean, honestly, there's a lot of options out there. So.
Yep. All right. Well, thanks for watching. Please remember to subscribe and hit that like button. Until next time.